Are you a service-based business owner looking to increase profits to fund your lifestyle? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now, over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hello to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Love to get your feedback at paul@buildlivegive.com. It means the world to me when you do. Our guest today is someone who did marketing PR at uni and completed her master's in Scotland. A story goes with that. You must listen. She couldn't find the right corporate role, and while working for a small business, had her first of 4 children and knew a full-time career was not for her. She became a VA or a virtual assistant before it was even a thing. And now she runs a boutique platform connecting mums and entrepreneurs. So why listen? How to overcome the fear of hiring a VA, what a VA can do to help you grow your business, and how to narrow down applicants to find the best VA for you. They've kindly given a great resource mentioned at the end of the show. So over now to Lesley Pyle from Hire My Mum. Welcome, Lesley Pyle from Hire My Mum to the Build, Live, Give podcast. So excited to have you on today, Lesley.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm excited to be with you, Paul.
Yeah, look, I've heard you on other podcasts, and I think what you're doing is fantastic. So I can't wait to share that with everyone listening today. But why don't we start with something that your family or friends would know about you that we may not?
Yeah, one fun thing about me is that I actually was a ambassador of goodwill for Rotary International. And what that means is I applied for a scholarship after my bachelor's degree and was awarded an opportunity to study anywhere in the world. I selected Scotland and attended the University of Stirling there in Scotland, obtained my master's degree in marketing and PR. And as an ambassador, I went around the country and spoke about the United States and Texas and wore my cowboy boots and those sorts of things. And then once I came back, I did the same thing in Texas and shared about my experience and the opportunity that I had to live and go to school in Scotland.
Excellent. And why Scotland? Out of any place, why Scotland?
I know. Do you want to know what my number one choice was?
No.
It was Australia. It was Australia. And the only reason I did not go there is because I would have had to wait another 6 months because of the different hemisphere in schooling. And that really bummed me out. So it had to be an English-speaking school because I'm not fluent in any other languages. So I was somewhat limited in that regard. But yes, and I was also looking for a school that offered marketing and public relations. So that kind of narrowed my choices down as well.
Yeah, well, look, I've never been to Scotland, been to obviously England, Ireland, but not Scotland. And, you know, was it as cold and dreary in the winter as everyone says?
Pretty much, but I arrived in August, and I will tell you from the plane, I could not even express to you the color of green of the grass of Scotland. That was like
Yes.
The thing that stuck out to me the most is it was the most vivid green I have ever seen because they do get so much rain. The winters were not my favorite, but the rest of the year was absolutely gorgeous there.
That's brilliant, yes. I'll never forget the first time I flew into Ireland. It was the same, wasn't it? It's just that,
yes.
Yeah, amazing green grass of home, as they say in Ireland.
Yes.
So I know that you know, were doing a little bit of work, had your first child, and then decided to, work from home is going to be for you. But take us through how you got to that decision, and then, how you've got to running this fantastic platform for hiring mums.
Yes, absolutely. So I gave away the first part of my story was I just finished my master's degree. I was already married. I had every intention to climb the corporate ladder and, go far as I could with the marketing and PR career. Had some great interviews with some big corporations and things, and none of those worked out. And I couldn't figure out, I thought I was doing everything right, but the doors kept closing on me. And I finally did get a job at a very small golf school in Austin, Texas, doing their PR. And within about 2 or 3 months of working there, got pregnant with my first child. Didn't have any intentions on not going back to work, still fully intended on, pursuing my career. But however, when my baby was born and they laid her on my tummy, something shifted in me that I did not expect. In those 6 weeks of maternity leave, I struggled with, how am I going to do this? I want to work, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to leave this baby of mine with someone every day while I go to work. So the bottom line is I did go back to work for about 2 weeks, and I cried every single day. And so I just decided this is not for me. As much as I thought it was going to be, I feel the very strong tug on my heart to be more than just a working mom. I wanted to work from home. And so that was back in 1995. And working from home was really not a thing. So I began freelancing, hit the ground running, because in order to make it work, I had to bring in a minimum of $500 a month. And we were living on bare bones with that, meaning we sold one car. So we were now one car family. We cut cable TV and every other bill that was not required. We ate ramen noodles, which we were used to doing because we put ourselves through college.
Yes.
And so I did the freelancing thing for about 6 months. And, it was tough to juggle an infant and a newborn and try to build a business. But I had such determination and such a passion that I was going to make it work no matter what. And that led me to think, okay, we're other moms. I can't be the only one. And so I had worked in my college days for an association. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was some type of online association for moms who worked at home? And granted, the internet was brand new to me at the time. By then it was about 1996. And so I bought Microsoft Front Page and decided I was going to build a website, and used my PR and marketing background and got the word out. Was able to get publicity in some national publications pretty quickly. And that became my online business in 1996, was basically an online association for moms who either worked at home or wanted to work at home.
Great. And isn't it brilliant the way the world works where, I was probably the opposite. I spent 18 years in large corporate, Coca-Cola, and wish I had left earlier to start my business. So it sounds like, not getting the right job was probably one of the best things the universe could have given to you.
Right.
And just to hit that time where you were having your young family and the internet was just taking off, I suppose, was brilliant. And, was it easier or harder than you thought to create this association?
I will say it was fairly easy. I think, having that marketing and PR background was the key for me to my success, because, Microsoft Front Page was like all of the Microsoft products. So it was pretty easy to build a basic website. And I guess today you still can build a basic website. Of course, now my website today with Hire My Mom, which is the business I started 14 years ago that kind of branched out of my first website, there's no way I could build this website. It's way too complex. There's too much back-end databases and things that have to work and that sort of thing. But, early on, just having a basic website and the ability to bring moms together. And, it's funny when I think about it, but we did like a monthly print newsletter because email still wasn't really that prevalent. I had to mail out invoices and things in the mail. And so we've come a long way.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of people say 10 years to be an overnight success, but I think you've been at this for more than double that. So
25.
25. There you go. So
I can always remember the number because my daughter is 25 years old.
Excellent. And that's Carson?
No, my oldest is McKenna.
Okay.
Good Scottish name.
Yes, where that link comes in. That's brilliant. And, I'm sure, your skills in marketing PR, like you said, was perfect in what you were creating. But who else were some of your biggest supporters back then and continue to be now?
Yes, I would say early on, my biggest supporter by far was my mom. I was the first generation college student, and not just a college student, but then went on to get a full scholarship for my master's degree. So you could almost not keep my mom quiet. She was so proud of me. And, the fact that I paid for all my own schooling for my bachelor's degree and then started my own business, kind of just out of necessity, not that I had the aspirations to be an entrepreneur, but she was just so proud of me that I used to laugh and say, Mom, nobody wants to hear about me. Would you just talk about something else? But, as parents, we're proud of our kids. I did lose her about 9 years ago, but I still think of her often and how proud she was of me and, what I had accomplished with, pretty meager beginnings.
Yeah, look, that's great. And, mum's always the biggest supporter. I lost my mum last year, and we had a similar health condition, and she was just incredible. She lasted over 10 years on dialysis in a condition where she was in such poor health. But I truly believe she did that to see me have a better outcome. And last year, I had a kidney transplant from my best friend that she'd known for 30 years. And it was like she waited for that moment, and then she passed just thereafter. So, incredible mums. And I think what you do is help mums spend more time with their children that they love and are passionate about, whilst helping entrepreneurs is brilliant. So why don't we get into that? So when someone says to you, hey, Lesley, tell me, hi, my mum, what is it? What do you do? Who do you help? How do you best describe that?
Yes. So obviously I had a very strong passion myself as a mom to be at home. So I took that passion with that first website. And then as working from home became more accepted, I was like, okay, now I think is the time to build a platform where I can connect these moms and these small businesses. So in a nutshell, I say we are a boutique service connecting small businesses with independent virtual professionals. And, I love the small business community and the entrepreneurs because I fit in that category, but I also have a passion for moms who want to work from home. So for me, it's the best of both worlds because I have such a passionate heart for both of those audiences, and I get to serve them both with my business.
Yeah. And what do you know about this that a lot of people miss?
About the small business or just the...
Yeah. Or I suppose in, helping entrepreneurs with talent, virtual talent, because I know that, there's still a lot of people that, and it surprises me because I always say in business, you need a computer, a phone, and a virtual assistant, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that simple. Yes. But a lot of people still don't get that. So,
right. Yeah. I think part of it is a fear of losing some part of your business for the new entrepreneur or the small business that has not yet hired, and not wanting to let something go for fear of somebody not doing it as well as you. But what I like to encourage people to do is look at your day and what do you not like to do, or what do you not have time to do? What are you not doing well? And I think those are the first things you should consider outsourcing or hiring a virtual assistant, or whether it's social media manager or accountant, bookkeeper, whatever that area of your business is. For me, it was a virtual assistant because I didn't want to be bogged down in the daily administration of emails and that sort of thing. And so having someone answer those, it frees up a lot of time. I don't know about you, but I can get stuck in email for 2 or 3 hours if I'm not careful, if I don't have someone helping me. So that was a huge time saver for me. And then just finding the right person. For me, the next one I wanted help with was social media. Even though I enjoy it and it's kind of part of my background with PR and marketing, I didn't want to be bogged down in having to do that and come up with ideas and content. So it worked out beautifully because my 25-year-old, who was my inspiration, graduated with her degree and shortly after became pregnant with her first and didn't want to go back to work. I was like, I've seen this before. So bottom line is she's now my social media person, and it works so beautifully because I already had my branding down so she could pick up on that. But she knows my voice so well as my daughter that I almost never have to change. I proof everything before, and I rarely have to adjust anything because I'm like, that sounds like me. Who knows me better than my own child?
Yeah. And look, going back to the emails, it's, when I was a director at Coke, it'd be 250, 300 emails a day. It was just ridiculous. And I actually had written into my contract that I had to have an executive assistant. And the number one thing they did was just triage my emails. So I was only touching the stuff that I was meant to do. But and today I spend probably 5 minutes on email. My team, if I need to do something, it goes in a project management software. I'm never looking at my emails. But for a lot of people, it's like, no, the last thing I'll ever let go is my emails. So I'm sure you've heard that before. What do you say to people when they're like, no, my emails, it has to be done by me?
Right. I think it's as simple as creating more than one email. So if you have certain things you want to come directly to you, then have that email go directly to you. But for instance, like on my website, that email goes directly to my virtual assistant. And that's the email address we put on anything that's going to go out into the world. So she gets the same questions that everybody asks and those sorts of things. And occasionally, let's say Paul emails and wants me to do a podcast. She just forwards it to me. So it's a lot easier than me sifting through all of those emails and trying to find the ones that I truly need to look at and see if it's something I'm going to do or want to do and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's a great suggestion. And I think also you can use filters to do that. Even if you don't have multiple email addresses, you can apply a similar principle. So that's great. And your ideal clients, you spoke about small businesses, entrepreneurs. I know entrepreneurs mean something different to everybody, but sort of who are your sweet spot of the people that you really love to help?
Yeah, I do have a heart for the entrepreneurs, the people that are kind of sometimes need a little bit more hand-holding because I consider us more of a boutique service. So if they have questions on, how do I write the job post, or do you have key questions that we should consider? We've really tried to become a hub for these small businesses and entrepreneurs. So our blog, every week we have some kind of content related to either the small business community or the mom community on the whole business of outsourcing, cover letters, resumes, interviewing, hiring, business growth, and so on. And then I've also been doing weekly interviews as well with different people who have business expertise, sharing all of that with our audience so that it's not just a platform to post a job, but it's a community of like-minded individuals where you can come and ask questions. We have Facebook groups and that sort of thing so that you can grow and learn and have access to other resources.
Great. And just take us quickly through how the process works. So I go to your website. What's sort of the logical sequence to go from hitting your website to hiring a great mum?
Right. So as a business, you could look at our pricing page if you wanted to see our 3 packages that we offer. And once you've decided, yes, this is what I want to do, you simply fill out a form with your information, your job description, key skills, traits, the pay range. You hit submit. Then my virtual assistant reviews it. She makes sure you're a good person, you're legitimate, you're not a scam artist. And once that review is complete, it goes live on our website. And from there, resumes will start as soon as people start saying, yep, that's what I want to apply for. And so you have the ability to turn the job ad off. If you say, okay, I've got 10 resumes, I don't want to look at anybody else right now, or I've got 50 resumes. What I think is really nice about a smaller platform too is that is typical on a platform like Hire My Mom, depending on what type of job it is. You might get anywhere from 10 to 50 resumes versus I've had some of the businesses say they posted on Indeed or some of these other mega job sites, and they'll have 900 or more resumes in like 24 hours. And that's just too much for anyone to go through. So it does make the job a little bit more simplified to use a smaller platform, especially if you know that niche has the type of talent that you're looking for.
Yeah, and what are the key things that an entrepreneur should look for? So they get the 10 to 50 resumes. How do you weed down to the top 3? What are some tips on that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I do personally because I use the platform. I just recently needed to hire a new virtual assistant. And one of the things that really helped me was obviously I look at their resume and their cover letter. If their cover letter is not tailored to my job, then immediately makes me think they weren't that interested, that they just sent through a form email. Somebody that takes a little extra time and says, Hire My Mom, I appreciate this about your business, or I saw this blog and it really, resonated with me. Just something that lets you know this isn't just a hit the submit button, quick and easy application. But from there, the next thing that was super helpful for me is I created a form, and it was only about 8 or 10 questions, but that's how I kind of selected my top 5 to interview. And I asked them things like, how many hours are you looking to work? Do you have a desired pay range? what interested you the most about this job and things like that to further, reduce. I think I had about 40 people who applied for it. And from there, I was able to select, I think I interviewed 5 or 6, and I knew immediately when they were available because I needed someone soon. So if they said a month, then they kind of got put aside. If their pay range was, $30 or $40 higher than mine, then I put them aside, and that sort of thing. So it helped me not have to waste their time or my time.
Right. And the questions, I know that what we do is I've got 6 questions and I get people to respond to them via video so I can get a sense of who they are. Have you tried that technique or any thoughts on doing something like that?
Yes, I have seen people put that in their job description, and I love that. I will say that some people have told me from the job seeker side, not necessarily just on video, but I have had in our community them say, if there is too much work up front, some people won't apply, because sometimes they'll say, send me 2 writing samples on this specific thing and send me a 5-minute video on this or whatever it might be. But I love the idea of having them answer the 6 questions because I'm assuming that's, 3 to 5 minutes max. And it's not taking a ton of their time and you're getting a feel for who they are versus just reading their words on a piece of paper.
Yeah, and the interview questions. Just what are some of the ones that that, we don't know for certain, but the ones that you love to ask that you think are different to, the common set you can get off the internet?
Yes. I always like to know why they're interested in the job because, again, you can kind of get a feel on whether it's just a standard answer that they tell everyone or if it's something that something about your business that really impacted them or you impacted them somehow, some way. The experience obviously is important, their skills and that sort of thing. But a lot of times, depending on what type of job it is, can be trained fairly easily. And just getting to know a little bit about their personality, because I think different personalities mesh well and work well together. And I know that some of these businesses will have them do, whether it's the Myers-Briggs or some of the other Enneagram type personalities tests, because they know their personality and they know what fits well with them. So that's another tip I've seen some of these businesses use.
Yeah, and Tony Robbins has actually got a free DISC report. So if you just search Tony Robbins DISC, it'll come up. Mm-hmm. And I think it's got an upgrade to get a different report. But yeah, it's quite easy. And we definitely use DISC a lot. There's some other great tools out there, but DISC is, a quick and easy one. And particularly, I think with and in a DISC profile, so what are the elements you're looking for in a DISC profile? Or is there any commonality between a really good virtual assistant and a certain DISC profile?
I haven't personally used DISC, but I know for me, I am more of a hands-off person, and I don't like to micromanage people. And so I have everything. My virtual assistant I hired about 2 months ago told me when we did our 30-day review that I was the most organized person she had ever worked for. And she said, anytime that I can't remember how to do something, I know immediately where to go, and I don't have to ask you because I've taken the time to document the processes and frequently asked questions and spreadsheets for, like our blogs are in a spreadsheet. So you can immediately go find, where's that one on the top interview questions? Instead of searching through the blog, you just go to the spreadsheet, type in the word, and those sorts of things. So I think having, as being as organized as you can and knowing, if you're like me, for instance, knowing you don't like to micromanage and you would just like to say, okay, let's just meet once a month if we need to powwow about things, through Zoom or something, or weekly if it might be, but not having to hold someone's hand and make sure they're doing their job every day.
Yeah, and there's sort of two buckets, because I ran an outsourcing company for almost 5 years before I had to divest it because of my health. But there was sort of the school saying, look, I'd love to get a VA, but I've got to get everything right first. I've got to get all my processes out of my head and get it done. And then there's other people that bring someone on to help them build those processes because they know it's naturally not their strength. What's your advice on either camp there?
Right. I think they're both great. It depends on, how you're wired or if you have time to. For me, it just felt like it was easier and quicker for me to do it than to try to have someone explain it to someone. Depends on how your brain works and what your day is like. And as I've gone forward, now that she has all of those, now I'll give her, for instance, build me this spreadsheet and let's do this. So now that I have the basic platform foundation on things, she's helping me grow it more.
Okay, great. And I know sometimes the elephant in the room is, what's it going to cost me? What's the investment to get a virtual assistant? So for you, as an average range for a great mum as a virtual assistant working from home, what sort of should an entrepreneur expect to invest?
Yeah. And obviously virtual assistant, as you know, can mean a million different things these days. So when I think of virtual assistant, my personal mindset is someone who is my assistant, who's doing email, returning phone calls, more administrative. And I would say on our platform, that pay range is typically from 15 to 25 an hour. Now, if you needed someone who also was going to have more technical skills, let's say they do some back-end work on your platform, or they've got a skill set in Infusionsoft or some other platform that's a little bit more, takes more training, then, it might be $20 to $30 an hour and so on. There are, people that are willing to work for more and some that only want to work for, less, and some that, everybody's got their sweet spot on what they want to earn. But I always tell a business, if your budget is $15 to $20 an hour, then put that on there and you can then create that form to say what's your desired pay. And if they put 30, then it's probably not going to be a great fit, or they may not be satisfied for very long if you're not able to go above.
Yeah, and most of the mums and most of your clients, where are they based in the world?
Primarily in North America.
Yeah. We
have, since I'm based here in Texas, a lot of the businesses and a lot of the following that I've garnered over the last 20 years, being in America. So a lot of the small businesses, the word of mouth, have primarily been in North America. We do have some in Australia and Europe and that sort of thing, but it is primarily English-speaking countries. We haven't had, any non-English-speaking countries be a part of the platform.
Any in Scotland?
That's a good question. I can't think of any from Scotland. I can think of a few from England and Ireland, but I can't recall any from Scotland. I may have to do some work there.
You will. You definitely will. And, is there any particular, labour law or anything that people need to be aware of with hiring a virtual assistant within the US?
I'm sorry, any labeler?
Sorry, we call it a labour law, but any regulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I'm sorry. I always tell people to make sure, look at, in America, look at the IRS guidelines, because they do have specific guidelines on whether they are considered an employee or a contractor, such as, the type of work they're doing or how much instruction they're given, or that sort of thing. So it's always good to refer to that to make sure that they do fall in the contractor status, if that's what you're hiring them as.
Yeah, great. And I know here in Australia, I think, if your income comes from 70% or more comes from one source, well, then you're considered a pseudo employee rather than a contractor. So is it a similar thing in the US under the RIS laws?
I have not heard of that specific one.
Okay. Well, maybe it's different there, but I know when I was in corporate and we used to contract talent in, we had to be careful that we weren't more than 70% of their things. So, look, you can definitely find out more about Lesley at hiremymum.com. And I don't say it in the Texas drawl, but it's MOM, not MUM, which we have here in Australia. But look, before we go into the live section, I would like to show you how to get 3 to 5 new clients a month on LinkedIn by spending 30 minutes a day, even if you don't know where to start or have limited marketing funds. Just go to blgclick.com and watch a on-demand free masterclass for the sales machine. You'll really learn 3 key things. One is the secret to 10 times your views. The second is the 7 killer elements to get people engaging on your post, and the third is the scripts that you can use to get 50% plus response rates to your messages. So go to blgclick.com and watch my on-demand free masterclass there. And a lot of the activities should be done by virtual assistants. So you can also look at Hire My Mum to get some help there. So the live section, Lesley, some of your daily habits that help you be successful.
Yeah, so I am a very active Christian, so I always start my day prayer and Bible time, try to keep my mindset in the right direction there. I also try to be proactive with my health, meaning that I see a wellness doctor, a holistic doctor, and try to keep my body clean and clear of anything that's not natural. And also daily exercise, or maybe not daily, but lots of times a week if I can fit some exercise in, because we know that sitting at the desk all day, every day, it's not good for us.
Yeah, and what's your go-to? What's your preferred type of exercise?
Well, prior to COVID, all the gyms here have been closed down. They've just reopened, but you're required to wear a mask. And I won't get into my thoughts on that, but let's just say I haven't gone back in until the mask issue gets resolved. So it's just been running and walking and bike riding outdoors for me right now.
Yeah, and assuming that's probably done earlier in the morning because it's pretty hot where you are.
Most definitely, preferably before 8 a.m. because here in Texas, we're in the middle of the hottest part of the year. So it's very humid. So you can walk out the door and start sweating.
Yes, yeah. Look, well, I've only been there once to Houston, and it was very, very hot. And as they always say, lots of flags and pickups. And Sam, I know is your partner
Yes.
with your four. Is it four?
Yes, four kids.
Four children. But Sam's listening right now because I know you're going to share this with him. What would you like to say to Sam about the support he's given you through this journey?
Yeah, he has been my steadfast through all of this. You know, we all have good days, we all have bad days, but he is the one that always encourages me and reminds me of all of the good things that I've accomplished, all the lives that I've helped, all the moms that I've helped, the small businesses. So he's a great encourager. He's a great leader of our family, great provider, protector, especially at 6'10". People just see him and not sure what to do with him. So, you know, we always joke that everything's bigger in Texas.
Well, he says, is he a thin 6'10"?
Yes, he was a basketball player, so he's got that basketball build.
Yeah, excellent. Great. And the give section, I know you give amazing opportunities through Hire My Mum, but are there any other communities or charities that you support and are passionate about?
Actually, several. I would say our top few, we have one that we're real passionate about called Global Media Outreach. And it was actually started by one of the top executives at Apple. So it's a platform where it's online, but anyone who searches, if they're, you know, in a state of depression or suicide, they can search these terms, and Global Media Outreach has online prayer partners and online missionaries all over the world. And so I was actually an online missionary with them for a few years. We also are very passionate about a ministry called Mighty Oaks, and it is to help veterans that come back with post-traumatic stress syndrome and helps them walk through a Christ-based program to help them rehabilitate and get back on their feet. We have a camp that we're very passionate about called Pine Cove. See, I could go on and on. I have a list of about 10 ministries that we're very passionate about.
That is so impressive. And look, you know, most of my clients, even though I'm in Australia, most of my clients in the US, and I'm just always inspired, I've got to say, by how much you guys give versus for us. I think we've still got a bit of a way to go there. So, you know, as a total, the US, I think, you know, anyone listening from the US now, you do a brilliant job at it. Anyone listening from Australia, I think we need to pull up our socks, but well done for you individually giving so much. It's something you should be very proud of. And look, I give all my book proceeds and a portion of my revenue to the Purple House. And if you want to support them more, you can just go to thepurplehouse.org.au So the last is the rapid fire section. So I'll ask you some questions to get some rapid fire responses. So the first one is, what are your top 3 personal effectiveness tips?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say number 1 is stay true to yourself, and don't let anyone else tell you who and what you should do. Do what you love and brings you joy. For me, I stumbled into what I do, but I tell everybody that I absolutely love what I do, and it does bring me joy. And then to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. I think oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we can let that part of our life go. But it's so important for just the healthy living aspect and, being able to be full capacity on every level.
Right. And have you got a third?
That was it. Take care of your mind, body, spirit. Yeah. I kind of, number 1 and 2 kind of went together, the doing what you love.
All right. Excellent. And tech, what's essential tech for running your business?
Yeah. So definitely G Suite. We do a lot with it, with Google Docs and the spreadsheets and the email and that sort of thing. Keeps us all very organized as a team that's all around the country. I love also Slack. It keeps us everything organized for us for communication. And then for me personally, I love Trello. It keeps me organized and different. I have about 5 or 6 boards and, 1 or 2 team members on that. So those are the tools that I really find very useful and helpful.
Great. And what are some of the best sources of new ideas for you?
Podcast. Definitely podcast. There are so many out there just like yours that are, it's almost like having your own personal coach and on any topic that you could ever want. If you can't afford a coach, listening to a podcast at least once a week, you get fresh ideas, fresh inspiration. I think that's one of the best things for a small business.
And the question I always ask people is, what speed do you listen at?
It depends. If I'm sitting whether I'm out, whether I'm in my car, but typically at 1 to 1.5. I can't do, I listened to you say you had it on 2.5, I think, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know how I can digest that quickly.
Yeah, look, I'm 2.5, sometimes 3, depends. I listen to myself at 3 because I think I talk too slow, but you just get used to it. And sometimes my kids will jump in my car and it's, it'll automatically go to the podcast and they're like, Dad, how do you listen to that? It just sounds like the Chipmunks. And I'm like, well, yes. Just get used to it.
Your ear has been trained.
It's spot on. And I do the same for video, everything. I like to speed it all up. And the last question is the big one. I'll leave it to the last for that reason. But what impact do you want to leave on the world?
I just want to be remembered and known as someone who cared deeply about others. And that means my family, my faith, my community, and just to leave a legacy of following your heart, your passion, and being a good person.
Excellent. Well, look, from what we've listened to today, your mum would be very proud of you. I'm sure she's spreading the word up in heaven right now about the amazing job you're doing. So, look, you can find more about Lesley at Hi My Mum, and it's MOM.com. And she's also kindly given us some excellent tools and apps that every entrepreneur should have. So you can go to the same, himymum.com/BLG. So look, it's just been so wonderful hearing your story. I've got an absolute passion for using virtual assistants for business owners. I think it's a must-have, as I spoke about. But I think the way you're doing it and how you're helping mums live their dream and entrepreneurs live theirs as well, I think is great. So if you're after a virtual assistant, please go ahead and check Lesley's platform. So Lesley, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Excellent. Bye. What a wonderful human Lesley is. She provides such a brilliant platform for entrepreneurs and mums to create, opportunities for them. But she also is such a giving person, and she could have gone on forever just in the give section alone. You can get the show notes at buildlivegive.com. So I'd love to know, what is your biggest takeaway from Lesley? Please share on your socials mentioning her and Hire My Mum. And remember, it's MOM, not the Aussie version, mum. If you believe someone you know would benefit from the show, please share it with them. They would love you for it. You can learn the 3 steps to find and convert your ideal clients on LinkedIn in a free on-demand masterclass at blgclick.com. Please take action to build your profit to fund your lifestyle and stay well.
Thanks for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please share it and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.